Good morning. To all of you who came to listen to us speak today, and all of you people in the line this morning who came to listen to us speak today, we thank you guys too. All right, we are Bitcoin veterans. We're all Bitcoiners. We're all veterans. This thing started about a year ago. Shane and I got together. He's an amazing dude. His background is he's a Marine Force Recon guy, Halo instructor. Does a lot of other cool things. And got together and said, hey, let's do something like for veterans. Would that be cool or what? So we started a little group on Twitter, which within 48 hours hit the cap max number of people you could possibly have. And we're like, hey, we need to maybe make this a bigger boat. We got the rest of these fine gentlemen here to join us. The five of us started a podcast called Bitcoin Veterans, and it has exploded and grown since then. Mike Hobart, former Army Aviation. We've got Jordan Gambrell, former Army Green Beret Special Forces. And Gabe, also former Army leadership guy. I think it might be helpful to explain what we're doing and why we're doing it. So the basic three focused parts of what our mission is that number one, there's 17 million veterans in the United States of America and another 200,000 or so joining us every single year. They all need to understand what Bitcoin is. They all need to understand why Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution that can help us take back our country. And I think that veterans, when they figure that part out about Bitcoin, they really get fired up about it. So, education, which Gabe is leading up. Also, healing for vets that need a way to kind of get with their brothers and work through some stuff. Shane Hazel is running a program called the Brave Mission. We'll talk a little bit about that too. And then finally, the other main purpose of Bitcoin Veterans is to take guys, put them into an environment where they are challenged, held accountable, and sharpened as men. We want to bring back that whole respect, honor, all the good things that makes dudes dudes. So, that all said, why don't we go down the line and talk about why we're here, why we're doing this, and sort of what makes you guys tick. Why don't we go this way? Gabe?
Let's roll. Good morning, everybody. All right, so Operation Bitcoin is a nonprofit organization that was started up to provide Bitcoin education and job connection services to military veterans. So we spun that up in large part because of the very reason that Alex mentioned, that there are around 17 million veterans in the United States alone, okay? 17 million. And there are over 200,000 of us that are coming into the civilian world every single year, all right? Now think about the size of the crowd that's here in this building today. We're at about 20,000 people? Imagine 200,000 people. That's the magnitude. That's the number of veterans that are coming out into the civilian world every single year right now. Many of them are coming out and they're disillusioned, they're nihilistic. The military wasn't what they thought it was going to be. We can go into those reasons in another conversation, but if you served, you understand what I'm talking about. So they come out into the world, they're finding themselves lost to civilians, without a purpose, without a sense of community anymore, and we are out here to help them to find that community and to find that purpose. Bitcoin is that purpose. Bitcoin is the way for them to find a way to be on a mission that is truly serving humanity in a way that was not accomplished during their time in the military. So that's my focus, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Why do I have to follow Gabe? This is bullshit. All right, so why am I doing this? I finished my time in the Army basically trying to work with local indigenous forces to help overthrow their government or establish a better situation in their country that was more appropriate for the American Empire. And when I got out, I realized that it was all pretty freaking negative, but I wanted to do the same thing in a positive perspective. And so what I'm doing within Bitcoin Veterans, this larger organization, is I'm trying to tap into the network effect of all you out there who we can help teach and train and educate and provide skills and technology like Bitcoin, like Meshtastic and ham radios, to go out and help build the future that we want. Like, Bitcoin is a huge part of it, but that doesn't solve all of society's problems. We need men and women to fix our society, but we also need to find ways to connect with each other and to build our local communities, because when things go down, it's going to be, nobody's coming to help us. We've got to be ready to help ourselves. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do as part of this mission, is to connect all these different nodes so we are more resilient, and as a community, we're anti-fragile.
And it's perfect for me to follow up Jordan. It's almost like we planned it. That my interest and my focus of here doing things with Bitcoin veterans and like getting on the mission here is multifaceted. First one is, you guys, if you've seen the pod, I am the resident Doom Lord, right? And the reason for that is part of what Jordan just said of like correcting society, is that my kind of calling is to bring a spotlight onto the problems, right? Because anybody who's fixed a problem, you can't fix a problem without knowing you have a problem. You can't know you have a problem without identifying the problem. And so, but one of the biggest solutions to a lot of these problems isn't just the money. We all, like, a lot of us know that within the Bitcoin community, or like if we're having the conversation with veterans, they might not know it's the money. So like that's one of the reasons why Bitcoin is like really core part of Bitcoin veterans. But part of my other experience within the Bitcoin community was working with the mining industry for Great American Mining, and getting veterans in particular to understand that when it comes to trying to solve these problems, a lot of the like American issues and Western developed nation issues come from energy provisioning and energy production and power distribution and all that. And then the last part would be that in order to fix the society or the societal problems that Jordan's talking about that we're all identifying, it isn't just the energy, it's also the culture. America has a problem, and the military branches all have a problem right now with culture, and I think we could all agree up here on this panel that a lot of that's thanks to the fiat Keynesian system and the DEI system that is powered by that Keynesian system. So like trying to fix the culture, pushing for like the development of the young male population, getting back to more stoicism, more wisdom. I think those three particular points through Bitcoin veterans can help really turn the tide for America and get back to like real, true American qualities.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. All of you guys that are actually here, even those of you guys that are standing in line, thank you guys for watching this. We are Bitcoin veterans, and I got to tell you, I am absolutely thrilled to be here. This year has been nothing less than incredible. To start from zero and then put in the proof of work, to have everybody show up here, to show up last night, I am just absolutely blown away and humbled for all the effort that has gone into this. And I want to point out to this crowd, first and foremost, that this is a very decentralized group of guys, and girls for that matter. It's not just veterans either. We have civilians all over the place. So if you are a civilian and this is something that might be your calling, please join us. These guys are working day and night tirelessly to help further this mission, which is bringing a passion and a mission back to veterans and their families. It's something that I believed in so long ago, right after 9/11, that I ran off to war for. It's something that I found, you know, this idea of self-sovereignty, of liberty, this star-spangly stuff that got perverted by an MIC and the government and the rest of these guys. And then we went off and we did some terrible stuff, and we figured out, you know what, these guys are actually full of shit. That hit home pretty hard for me. And when I found Bitcoin, and really, Bitcoin found me, because it was a person that said, hey man, you need to learn this. You're great on Austrian economics, you know things in the political system, you need to learn Bitcoin. When I finally did, which was way later than I should have, and obviously you get it at the price you deserve. I fell in love with this idea. This idea's time has come. The love that we have for each other and our fellow man is what propels a lot of people to join the service in the first place. It's that driving motivational factor that says, I want to go stand in between these guys and the bad guys. I will do whatever I need to, including dying on my shield. And so to have that remnant, that fire that still burns in guys that are losing hope and nihilistic, to introduce this bright orange signal into their lives and to spread that to where they can spread that love that they have for their fellow man, that love that they have for liberty, the love that they have for their country, the love they have for their God. That is an exceptional place to be in this time and place. We are literally at the forefront of the next great revolution. And it's not just an American revolution. This is a global revolution that is peaceful. And that love that drives us is something that, the people who oppose us can never, ever, ever match. And they have underestimated it at every turn. And that's why you're starting to see lines like this, lines that wrap around buildings in Tennessee from different political parties. Why? Because they're coming here. Bitcoin has made them stand up and recognize something that is inherently true in all of us. And that is freedom, that is private property rights, that is self-sovereignty, that is the right to your determination of your life. And these guys in this room and everywhere else Bitcoin veterans are actually pushing this mission so far, so fast. And like I said, I am absolutely humbled to just be one of those guys to be able to sit on this panel and say, yeah, you know what? We started something, and I hope history writes, amazing tales about this time, because you guys are going to be remembered as the forefathers of the next great generation. So, thank you guys for being here.
I love these guys.
Well, I wanted to add one thing to Shane had said something that I think is on the minds of a lot of people across the planet in general, but really across America right now, and that's revolution. I have a talking point that I've really been kind of pushing pretty hard, and I won't try to take up too much of the time here, but when it comes to the discussions around like the focuses that I'm looking at with energy and the culture and everything, what Bitcoin Veterans is doing right now, I am very, very confident that revolution that you're talking about, that revolution in the minds of like the populace and the spirit of the populace and the philosophical views of the populace, I think that we are literally on that turning point, that bottom of the bell curve, right before like the actual the second renaissance for the planet actually kicks off, because the innovations that we are experiencing, like Gary in the audience with his mesh-tastic stuff that we were leading earlier, we're looking at ideas that are getting funded and getting attention thanks to Bitcoin that have been so necessary because they are so much more effective and so much more efficient than the current system operates, and that's outside of the way Bitcoin does the monetary stuff, right? And then there's also the energy aspect powering the innovation that is going to come from the R&D later down the road, because Bitcoin mining is facilitating very, very cheap energy and reliable energy generation. So I want you guys to understand that what he's saying, it's not just a rally cry or a rally point. Like, we are literally at the turning point of a major moment in history, and we can do it without violence for the first time in human history. That is pivotal.
Powerful stuff. All right, so the reason I'm doing this is that this country is essentially unrecognizable from the country I grew up in. It has changed a lot. I am a freedom maxi, big believer in freedom. It's the reason I joined. Believe in this country, believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. Took that oath very seriously when I took it. I know a lot of these guys still do today. And I think that if we keep going the way we're going, we don't change things, it's going to be possibly very dark. You know, it seems like we've had a lot of our freedoms eroded. It seems like there's a continuous encroachments on our financial resources in the form of taxation, in the form of inflation. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that thing. There was that one guy who had this shopping cart from like 4 years ago, or something like that. And it was like
the Walmart receipt. Right?
It was a Walmart receipt. Thank you. It was like, I don't know if I got the numbers right, but it was like $146. And then he did the same shopping cart today, and it was over $400. I mean, inflation is pretty insidious for people who don't understand it. I mean, if you have a 2% rate of inflation every year, like by the time you're retirement age, that will have confiscated half of your wealth. I don't know if people realize that or not. And then taxes and licensing and fees and all the other ridiculous things that we have to pay nowadays. Plus all of the encroachments on people's freedoms in terms of what the government's doing, watching people, all the information that they're collecting on everybody and where it could possibly go. In the European Union, for example, I just saw this thing where they essentially want you to report everything you own to the government, like everything. Your watches, your cars, everything of value. If you got some gold bars sitting at home, they want to know about all of it. Now, you got to ask yourself a question. Why would a government need to know any of that? That doesn't make any sense.
It's not for insurance, I can tell you that.
What?
A government that's $34 trillion in debt needs to know what you're doing with your money. What? It's wild.
Yeah, so you got to wonder. I mean, the thing that's constantly fed to people is that this is for your protection. We're doing this to protect you. How many people in this room think that's bullshit? I don't know anybody. Well, there's probably people out there who believe that, but it's like, I don't know if that's right. And I want my kids to grow up in a world where there's freedom. I don't want them to grow up in a world where it's constant war. I think the forever wars that many of the veterans who are involved in our organization have participated in. I can't, my entire adult life, the United States of America has been at war. And it's just a machine that just keeps going, keeps taking taxpayer dollars, filtering it through the military-industrial complex over and over and over again, taking wealth away from the citizens and filtering it in the hands of a few people, right? Same thing with the Cantillon effect and inflation, same deal. So Bitcoin is a way, obviously, for us to retake a lot of that stuff. And that's why I'm doing this. That's what I'm excited about. We're getting short on time here. We've got about 10 minutes left. So let's just go around, hit whatever you guys think is most important to hit.
I just want to add a little bit on to what you were saying, Alex. It is a machine, and as veterans, we have been inside of that machine, and we have a unique perspective on the inner workings of exactly how it functions and how devastating it is to everyone around the world. And then what happens is, for many of us, we get out and kind of separate ourselves as far away from it as we possibly can, while others still find themselves attached to it in some way, while either working for the defense industry or something that's related to that. And so they continue to be a part of the machine. And some of that comes from the fact that there aren't as many opportunities in other places. So what does it look like if we can starve that machine by taking all of that talent as they leave the military, and instead of having them go that route of staying within the defense industry, move them into Bitcoin instead? Okay? Take them away from the destruction, and let's put them into something that is growing things in the world, that is changing things in the world for the better. That's what we're doing. That's why we're here. We have so many veterans that are walking around that have this wasted energy, and there's nowhere to put it, and they don't know what to do with it. Wasted energy. So what do? I mean, what is Bitcoin really good at? Right? We're really good at capturing wasted energy and doing something with it, building with it, producing something with it, building the future with it, literally. And that's what we have the opportunity to do here. And that's why we do what we do.
I want to share something that somebody said to me the other day that I needed to hear. It hit my soul, and I feel like all the veterans need to hear this too. And all the people waiting in line who have ever said, hey, thank you for your service, understand that a lot of times we hear that and we kind of cringe a little bit because we look back on our service and we know what it was all about, that it wasn't for the reasons that we signed up for, but we kind of understand where they're coming from. But what Andrew said this to me at the flip party. He said, "Thank you for your service because I know it was done in good faith." And that hit me in the soul, because when we signed up, we all signed up to do it for the right reasons. The fact that we found out later that we weren't, that's just because we've been lied to and we're part of this propaganda fiat machine. So if you are waiting in line, if you're a civilian, the next time you tell somebody thank you for your service, add in the because I know it was in good faith. Nobody signed up to be a warmonger. Any civilians that might have this perception of what veterans are, that we just signed up because we wanted to be part of this empire building machine, that's not the case. So for all of you out there, all the veterans that I'm looking at right now, thank you for your service because I know it was done in good faith.
I guess with a little over 6 minutes left, we'll start wrapping this thing up. Mike said, say something about Brave. Brave was a post-traumatic stress mission that I started with plant medicine, and it was very, kind of spur of the moment. It was one of those things where once I figured out some things because I had a person who cared about me enough to take me out and introduce me to a plant medicine called psilocybin, things started to change. Literally having visions and purpose and passion about what we were supposed to be doing. And that was a predecessor to all of this. When this started happening and I saw the results in myself, looking inward because I was this guy that was just fighting and crashing against this world that's out there. That is a very hard life. And I think it's a life that many Americans right now and people all around the world can identify with. We are fighting against the system. We are fighting to keep our property. We're fighting to keep our rights, our sovereignty, and all these things. And that is a very, very hard fight right now. What I figured out is you have to get in a flow. You have to figure out how to get in with the moment and the energy and stop being absolutely a headwind to it. When you figure that out and you figure out what your passion is and what you figure out what you're good at and we figure out who else out there is part of that, where you've walked a million miles, another guy knows exactly what you've done, especially from the military. So to bring these guys out and to start introducing them to a new way, a new spirituality, a new understanding and awakening, to put them on missions, to help them spread this idea that we are bigger than just ourselves. We fit. When we zoom out, and we say that all the time in Bitcoin, when we zoom out of this and we start looking at where we fit in space and time, it is a very unique moment. And you start to say, yeah, you know what? We're all human beings. We're all sharing this, this rock that's spinning around, a sun going a bajillion miles an hour, made of stardust and energy. When you realize how special each and every person is because you had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of even being born, what are we going to do together? And that's what Brave starts to really accentuate. It not only helps with post-traumatic stress, it helps heal spiritually, but it also helps us come together with a mission. And I will tell you, this organization, I can tell you for myself, that's why I wanted to do this. It's one of the reasons why we can introduce guys into this. It's why we can develop leadership within this organization. And this organization has many other, lower organizations that are already part of it, like Operation Bitcoin that Gabe runs. And I think this is, this is a jumping off point for veterans taking something really pure and absolutely changing the world with it.
All right, want to thank you all for being here. A couple of quick things. We've got a room number 110. It's called the Bitcoin Veterans Citadel. Tons of cool stuff. There's going to be a Start 9 track, on-chain, Surveil Yourself track, Stratum V2. You want to learn about bid access, that's all going to be there. You can find a little card that explains some of that. if you want. There's also a QR code. You can check out the website. Just want to thank all of you guys for everything. Like, I'm honored to be working with these dudes. I also want to say the 5 of us are just the guys who talk on the podcast. The thing that makes Bitcoin Veterans run is we went from this to, I think, close to 600 people are involved now. We're adding more people every single day, and that happened in 1 year. I'm sure it's going to keep going, but it's all of the other guys that are part of this thing that are continuously driving it forward. So thank all of you. We have a couple of minutes left, and they don't know we're about to do this. We're doing the whole... how many of you guys are veterans in here right now? Okay, if you don't mind, get up here on the stage.
Get the fuck up here.
Let me get a picture. Let's go.